Hi my dear student, today we will discuss trigonometric functions, part 2. Already in part 1 video, we discussed about the curve sine function, whose domain, range, amplitude, period, properties, etc. And in the same video, we discussed about the reciprocal of sine, cosecant curve, and the inverse of sine inverse and the cosecant inverse, whose domain, range, curve, structure, etc. we discussed. In this part, that is part 2, we are going to discuss about cosine curve, whose reciprocal secant curve, the inverse of cosine and inverse of secant. Very first we will discuss about cosine curve. Let us see this curve. This is what the structure of cosine curve. It's in a wave motion, but sine curve starts from 0, it goes like this, okay. But cosine curve starts from the top because cos 0 degree gives 1. Cos 90 degree gives 0. This is 180 degree. This is 90 and this is another 90. So 90 plus 90, 180. So another 90, 270. 3 times pi by 2. And this is 2 pi. This is 90 plus 90 plus 90 plus 90. 4 times 90 gives 360, which is 2 pi. Where pi is 180 degree, 2 into 180, 360. So this is one cycle from here to here, here. This is one cycle, and this is 2 pi. This is 90 plus 90, another pi. It will be 3 pi. 90 plus 90, it will be 4 pi. This is 5 pi, etc. It will be. Here, this is 0. This is 90 plus 90 minus pi. This is minus 2 pi, this is minus 3 pi, and this is minus 4 pi, this is minus 5 pi, etc. it will go. Here cos 0 degree 1, cos 90 degree 0, cos 180 degree gives minus 1. Is it clear? This is what cosine curve. See, in this curve, very first domain. Domain. What is mean by domain? Domain is the input of the function, that is y equal to cos x. I'll take my function y, which is equal to cos x, where x is the input, cos x is the output. So the x is called as domain. What are the values of x in this case it may takes? See, the real x-axis, it's here, no? It takes 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. till this end, and minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, etc. till this end. So the value of x is nothing but domain. It is set of all real number. Domain is set of all real number. How I am telling the cos x curve whose domain is real? Because what is mean by domain? Domain is set of x values. Here the value of x for cosine curve, when you see, the curve goes on till infinity, okay. So it takes all your x values. So completely the domain of cos x is set of all real number, or it takes all your x values. All your x values, your output exists. Domain. Next, range. Range is the output. The maximum value of cosine curve is 1 and the minimum value of the cosine curve is minus 1. So the output lies between minus 1 comma plus 1, closed interval. So in this case the domain is set of all x values, that is real, and the range maximum value is plus 1 and minimum value is minus 1. So the output of cosine curve lies between minus 1 to plus 1. Is it clear? Next, amplitude. Amplitude is distance from the x-axis. Distance from the x-axis. This is x-axis, the maximum distance is 1 unit. Otherwise, distance from the x-axis, otherwise half times maximum minus minimum. That is, what is the maximum distance? 1 unit, and the minimum one is minus 1. So what it will be? Minus in the minus plus, 1 plus 1, 2, 2 by 2, 1. So in this case the amplitude is 1 unit. You can say the distance from the x-axis, the maximum distance from x-axis, or half times maximum minus minimum, distance between this one into half. distance between maximum and minimum into half. So this is 1 unit and this is another 1 unit. So 1 minus of minus 1, it gives 1 plus 1, 2. 2 by 2, 1. So amplitude in this case is 1. Next, period. Period is 1 cycle. So it starts here 0 degree, it goes like this. Okay, it starts here, it goes 90, 180, 270, 360. It reaches. This is called as 1 cycle. Okay, when you see the curve repeats on either side 0 to 2 pi. So 0 to 2 pi is 1 cycle and it repeats this side as well as this side. So the period is 0 from here to here, it is 2 pi. The period is 2 pi. It repeats the curve on either side. This side also it repeats and this side also it repeats. So the period is 1 cycle, that is from here, it comes here and goes up here up to 360. So 0 to 2 pi, that is the period is 2 pi. Okay, properties. Number 1. Cos x is continuous function. See, the curve without any break, the overall R, it continues. So throughout the x-axis, it continues without any break. Therefore, cosine is a continuous function. Cos x, cosine is a continuous function. Cosine is an even function. Since cosine is an even function, because when you fold vertically, it will be coincide. It is symmetrical about y-axis. Since it is symmetrical about y-axis. From the curve 0 degree to 90 degree, it lies above x-axis. So cos x is positive in first quadrant. 0 to 90 is first quadrant. Then 90 to 180 below x-axis, even 180 to 270 also below x-axis. Again 270 to 2 pi above x-axis. So first quadrant and fourth quadrant, cos x is positive. Why we are telling cos x is positive in first quadrant and fourth quadrant? Let us see the curve. 0 to 90 degree, it lies above x-axis. 270 to 360 degree, it lies above x-axis. So cos x is positive in first quadrant and fourth quadrant. When you draw like a circle, this is 0 degree, 90, 180, 270, 360. So 0 to 90 above x-axis, positive. 270 to 360 above x-axis, positive. So cos x is positive in first quadrant and fourth quadrant. And between 90 to 180 and 180 to 270, it lies below x-axis. So therefore, cos x is negative in second and third quadrant. Got it? So cos x is negative in second quadrant and third quadrant. In second and third quadrant, cos x is negative. I'll write here. The maximum value is equal to 1. Minimum value equal to minus 1. Is it clear? In this case, the domain is set of all real number. See the domain, x is the domain. X throughout x-axis it travels. So therefore the domain is R, that is real set of all real number. Range, the output is maximum plus 1 and the minimum minus 1. So between minus 1 and plus 1, the range is minus 1 to plus 1. Amplitude, distance from the x-axis maximum, or half times maximum distance between maximum and minimum, that is maximum is 1, minimum is minus 1. So distance between these two is 1 minus of minus 1, that is 1 plus 1, 2. 2 cancel, 1 unit. Period, one cycle. It starts here and comes down, it goes up. So this will be repeated. This part, see, this part will be repeated on either side. So the period is 2 pi. When you discuss about properties, it is a continuous function. See, throughout the curve there is no break in the cosine curve. So it is continuous function. And it is even function. When you fold vertically, see, when you fold vertically it will be coincide. Since it is symmetrical about y-axis, therefore cosine function is an even function. Okay. Cos x, positive in 0 to 90, 270 to 360. That is, cos x is positive in first and fourth quadrant. Cos x is negative between 90 to 180 and 180 to 270. That is, cos x is negative in second and third quadrant. The maximum value is plus 1 and the minimum value is minus 1. I will write the fifth point here. Cos n pi equal to 1 if n is even, minus 1 if n is odd. See, cos even pi always appear in the top. So cos even pi, if n is even, this will be even pi, it gives 1. If n is odd pi appear always at the bottom, it gives minus 1. Is it clear? Cos n pi equal to plus 1 if n is even, it appears at the top. Cos n pi equal to minus 1 if n is odd, it appears at the bottom. So what can you understand from this curve? The general solution for plus 1 is cos even pi. General solution for minus 1 is cos odd pi. We have so many properties in cosine curve, but we discuss here particularly domain, set of all real number, range maximum 1, minimum minus 1, amplitude 1 unit, the period is 2 pi, and about properties, which is a continuous function and it is even function, symmetrical about y-axis. Cos x is positive in first and fourth quadrant, cos x is negative in second and third quadrant, and maximum value 1, minimum value minus 1. Fifth point, cos n pi, even pi gives plus 1, odd pi gives minus 1. With the help of cosine curve only I declared everything. So please don't mug up anything. Okay, you wanted to remember the structure of the cosine curve. With the help of cosine curve only we discuss the properties and domain, range, amplitude, period, maxima, minima, the output of 1, minus 1, and just go through the video again line by line. Try to understand. Please don't mug up. It is very easy one. So whatever be the doubts, please ask me in the comment section. I am ready to answer. Is it clear? Now we discussed cosine curve. Next we will see cos inverse. Inverse of cosine we will see. Okay. This is y equal to cos inverse x. This is cos inverse curve. Cosine output is minus 1 to plus 1. So this is minus 1 and this is plus 1. Okay. And this will be appear at 0 degree and minus 1 will appear at, see, 180 degree, and this is at 90, 0. So in this case, the x-axis is minus 1 to plus 1 and the curve goes like this and it will stop here because 1 and this will be minus 1 and 180 degree. Therefore, in this case is the domain is, what is the domain? Minus 1 to plus 1. When you see the curve, you can understand. The domain is, this is input, this is output. So, the domain is minus 1 to plus 1. And the range is, see, what is the range? Up to pi. 0, 180 degree. The range is 0 to pi. In this case, when you fold like this, it won't be coincide. When you fold vertically and horizontally, it won't be coincide. So the curve is not symmetrical about the origin. Okay, so neither it is even nor odd. Got it? So cos inverse x is neither even nor odd. So the domain is -1 to +1. The range is 0 to 180 degree. The curve is not symmetrical about the origin because when you fold vertically or horizontally it won't be coincide. Therefore cos inverse x is neither even nor odd. And in this case, whose x-intercept equal to 1 and y-intercept will be 90. So in cos inverse x, whose x-intercept is 1 and y-intercept is 90 degree. So this is the meeting point on the axis. X-intercept means the curve meets the x-axis at 1. So x-intercept is 1. When it meets the y-axis at 90, so y-intercept is 90. Is it clear? So here we discuss about domain, range, whether it is even or odd, x-intercept, y-intercept, about cos inverse x. This is what the structure of cos inverse x. When you see the diagram itself, you can say the domain, that is -1 to +1, and the range 0 to pi. Is it clear? And the curve is not symmetrical about the origin. Therefore cos inverse x is neither even nor odd, and whose x-intercept is 1 and y-intercept is 90. Is it clear? Now we will discuss about secant x. Let us take y equal to secant x. What is secant x? 1 by cos x. Let us see the diagram of secant x. This is the diagram. When you see the diagram, the secant x curve never lies between -1 and +1. It goes up and it comes down after 1 and after -1. Okay, it never lies between -1 and +1. So in this case, it takes the domain is set of all real number where except n pi plus 90. Why I am writing like this? Because cos x becomes 0, n pi plus 90. Already we discussed just now. Cos x will be 0 at n pi plus 90. So you wanted to remove this n pi plus 90, does not exist, secant x. So set of all real number minus n pi plus 90, or you can write set of all real number, remove 2n plus 1 into pi by 2. See, when you multiply, 2 cancel n pi by 2 will come. Same. So you can write the domain as set of all real number except 2n plus 1 times 90. The range. The range is, when you see the diagram, it takes all your values, but it never lies between -1 and +1. So set of all real number except -1 and +1, that is, or except -1 and +1. So for secant x curve, which is nothing but 1 by cos x. Why I am writing 1 by cos x? Because it takes, when you see the diagram, it takes all the values, but except cos x becomes 0. When this becomes 0, it becomes infinity. It is not in real axis. So cos x becomes 0 at n pi plus 90. So secant x, whose domain is set of all real number except n pi plus 90, that is set of all real number except 2n plus 1 into 90. The range is full real value except -1 and +1. So set of all real number except -1 to +1, because your secant x curve never lies between -1 and +1. So when you see the diagram itself, you can understand the domain, which is nothing but set of all real number except 2n plus 1 times 90 degree, and the range is set of all real number except -1 to +1. Is it clear? Secant x curve, this is the domain and range. Got it? Or n belongs to z. Now y equal to secant inverse x. Let us see the diagram. This is secant inverse x. When you see the diagram, it takes all your real values. It never takes your -1 and +1. So in this case, the domain is set of all real number, okay, except -1 and +1. See the diagram. It lies everywhere except -1 to +1. So the domain is set of all real number except -1 to +1. And the range. Range, when you see the diagram, the curve goes here and this direction. Between 0 and 180, 90 degree at the middle. You see a line, a dotted line is going on. In this line, your secant inverse x never touches the line. The line, particularly 90 degree, we have a dotted line in green color. Your curve, red curve above and below, it never touches that dotted line. So in this case, the range is between 0 to pi. 0 to pi completely, except the point 90 degree. It lies between 0 to 90. Only at 90 degree it never touches. So the range is between 0 to 90 except 90 degree. Is it clear? So secant inverse x, from the diagram you can write the domain is set of all real number except -1 and +1. Between -1 and +1. And the range is, when you see a dotted line passes through 90 degree, it never touches. Therefore the range is 0 to pi except 90. Is it clear? This is y equal to secant inverse x. This is a curve and this is the domain and range. So in this complete video, what we discussed about mainly cosine curve. In cosine curve, we discussed about domain, range, amplitude, period, and the properties like whether it is even or odd, positive, negative, in which quadrant we discussed, maximum value, minimum value, etc. Next we discuss about the reciprocal of cosine, that is secant x curve whose domain, range, and we discuss about cos inverse, inverse of cosine, cos inverse x whose domain, range, neither even or odd, etc. we discussed. And y equal to secant inverse x. Here we discuss about the domain, range, etc. My dear students, please go through the video completely. No need to mug up anything. If you wanted to declare your range, domain, amplitude, period, etc., whatever it is, with the help of diagram you wanted to mention. When you say the values based on the diagram, easily you can able to remember, and really you can understand why we are writing these values. Everything which is based on the diagram only. Just go through the video completely. Whatever be the doubts you have, please ask me. I am ready to clear your doubts also at the same time. Is it clear? Thank you.